Out to the UGC Highlander Season 16 playoff round number 2 here. As you guys actually just saw the promo video for the Battle Royale, I just want to talk about that real quick here, guys. Signups actually are open right now, and there's actually a huge prize pool of 250 keys going out to the Pro League in that, thanks to Marketplace.tf. Melon, do you have any thoughts on, have you heard anything about the Battle Royale?
You know, I've definitely casted for the Battle Royale in the past, and traditionally it was just a 4v4 tournament, a lot of for fun. They had a lot of random people from, you know, everything from pub communities up to having the highest level of competitive experience just mixed together and having a good time. In the past, that is what they've done, but this year they're actually taking a new approach and doing a 9v9 Highlander mashup with 2 different divisions. Pro, which is, I believe, competing for a pretty decent prize pool. And then the cardboard division, which is really for everyone to sign up, whether you have competitive experience or not, and you will be hopefully balanced into a team and have a good time. It'll be a pretty fun Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, it should be a good time. If you guys are interested in that, go to EVLBR.com. There may even be links inside this Twitch page here. As we're going to switch over.
Check the chat.
Yeah, oh, it's in the chat as well. There you go. All the fancy things here. As we are in a big matchup tonight. Obviously, that's going to be a big matchup in the future. But here tonight, we have DK versus KND fighting over that spot. Winner goes into the grand final. Losers get sent down into the lower bracket grand finals here. As we are getting started out of the game right now. So we're going to get our first mid-fight here, as looks like Reds get out here much earlier, actually Fanny getting some cap time, as the soldier actually jumps in over the top onto the Devilman, who's getting kind of trapped in this ramp room, but Carl goes down as well, so no heavy here, as we're getting a lot of contesting here on the choke side for KND, but it looks like it's going to come out in the DK's favor, I'm sorry, and KND's favor, as actually Metalway went down there, only 3 alive, as KND decisively takes that mid.
That was kind of a back and forth mid fight there. It looks like at first CK was very aggressive into mid. They actually got a lot of early ground on KND, but unfortunately the aggressiveness didn't work out for them, as they were just being picked off one by one with an early snipe on Carl, the heavy, and then as well as their soldier going down, and from then it was just a slow collapse as KND began retaking that ground there. As they move into Big Door now, it looks like they're starting to, with full Uber advantage, only 15% on Medowi. They are pushing in through Garage here, and they're going to be taking second point pretty concisively. They gotta have to be careful with Aegis up top. Might try to get a last minute force on the soldier, but it looks like KND is into the point and will be able to take that ground for free at this point. A little bit early action from Etney getting up on top, and KND is able to just walk into lobby. It looks like it might be a pretty easy last push for them here.
Yes, KND getting ready for this final push, the second point, given up basically for free. Probably a wise decision, as Meadoway is trying to build that Uber at 75%. Might get off in time. KND is getting ready to push in from this river side. They show themselves that the Delman gets popped into onto the final point. Level 2 gun, trying to be focused here. It's actually Delman getting popped around with the help of the Pyro Heavy, as well as the scouts underneath the point inside of water, going against that Heavy there. As some fighting going on here, but the Uber does get popped off by DK, and only actually 2 alive here from KND. Just Etney who goes down as well, and that's a full wipe there, as DK defends their point with Uber disadvantage, is going to retake the second point.
I gotta say, it was kind of a big mistake on KND there. I know it is very hard to get everyone healed up and pushed into last, even though you do have a 40% advantage. It looks like they waited a little bit too long, pushing him when Medowi was already at 90%, and then focusing their entire Uber on the gun, not getting any pressure to even damage Medowi. Just letting him kind of sit back with the rest of his combo, not taking any damage, and then Ubering back onto them, and it was an easy cleanup for DK then.
Yeah, Etney trying to get a little bit cute here, actually goes behind DK, trying to do something here. There's actually a back cap going down in the favor of KND, but obviously that midway is going to get capped much faster here, as DK getting this point down. They also have a nice little Uber advantage here, probably something they're going to push off of here, 85%, as they're getting kind of everybody buffed up at this choke point. Actually kind of surprising that they don't have any players currently at the Big Door side. Finally, Engineer is going to go down for that, but 100%, and we should see a pop of the Uber here shortly as Bandy's peeking around the corner.
And it looks like KND not taking any chances, realizing early on that they're not going to be overwhelmed by DK again, and backing up to the pretty safe background up there, just letting that build that Uber just in time, currently at 70%, but Medowi pushing into the point 100%. Already 2-3 down for DK, and the Uber is last popped on a Pyro, which really isn't going to get too much down with the KND combo just sitting up top ready to Uber in. As they get Uber here, they're ready to go into choke right away, and we do see Jarrett moving forward.
Yeah, and so KND here, that was a really bad push out of DK, dropping their Demo Man and Heavy pretty early on. KND getting ready, going through their choke side. Actually, Aegis trying to jump over the top, get something, not able to find anything as he goes down pretty quickly. As now, actually, KND doing a really good job. They actually just kind of force DK out of this choke point. DK hoping to get a force onto just in time, but they're going to take this for free. And now they're going to take it straight through onto the second point. Scissor peeking around the... Oh! Takes down. Nice shot by Axiomatic. It looks like they're just going to push through Big Door. I kind of like this push here. But it's going to be contested by that little Wrangler. That's not going to stay up as Josh goes down to a nice snipe from Corsa. Spy in actually on the DK medic here up top, but he's going to get back off as just kind of holding out. Actually, Demo Man going through lobby.
We actually see the combo going back through lobby and Any as well. I think kind of trying to sneak up on the combo from up top as the Spy pressures them. Probably is going to be great for DK, even though they do have the height advantage here. Kind of losing Spyro to a drop down right now. It very quickly goes down. And... Ooh, it's kind of a back and forth pressure fight. It does look like the KND Uber, so the DK Uber is popped on the point. We do see a trade here.
Yeah, actually gotta be careful here as Metaway is actually pretty caught out here inside the basement area. Gonna be able to run away with his life, fortunately, as the Ubers did get traded there. Wow, he actually truly did get away there, so he's gonna be at a very slight Uber disadvantage. Not enough, but that was an incredibly, I don't think I've ever seen a fight
that was
happen.
Interesting. You know, I was actually really interested to see what KND was going to do wrapping around in lobby there, but it looks like they really didn't get that pressure I expected them to behind on battlements, and they actually ended up going back for the point. I know you do have to get that cap time, but considering the ground they had, I'm kind of interested to see them go into lobby the way they did and then just kind of go back and trade. It wasn't really the build-up I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it actually allowed DK to get their Uber charge off, which is not something you want when you have such a significant advantage as they did. But here we go, DK holding on this final point. They lost some players early on themselves, but then KND did as well here. So it looks like KND's opting just to kind of park the bus a little bit, get that Uber charge built up here as they are doing it. Probably right now just looking to get a pick. Corsa getting buffed right now, opting to go to the river side, maybe able to pull something off here as nothing's really happening, as it actually looks like the medic for KND here looking to get a little bit aggressive on this river side. Demoman peeking it maybe, but still just a little bit of slow play. KND just looking to find an angle.
Looks like right now this is unfortunately what we see a lot on 5CP maps, whether it be Gullywash or really any 5CP. You're going to see a lot of stalemates and just kind of sitting around waiting for picks, and sometimes it doesn't happen, or sometimes, you know, you get a pick on the defense and you try moving out and then you move back and you sit for another 5 minutes. So unfortunately, that is what we see a lot in Highlander. It does kind of get to that park the bus scenario, and that might be what we're going to see. But actually, interesting enough, engineer play here. We actually do have Josh moving to mini sentries, which I know is a pretty common shutdown point on this map. It's going to really... Oops! The Uber is popped on the point with Satan actually taking it.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd. They went into river, popped the Uber on Satan, and as well as a Demo Man right there. As actually Edney goes down as well, trying to jump in onto the medic there, not able to connect with anything, but the frag's about even a little bit in the favor of DK here, as actually Aegis goes down, as well as Metaway. There we go. That's a medic down. Only 4 alive here for the defense, but only 4 alive on the offense as well, as nobody's actually really in position except for the Spy, who's going to actually try to kill Josh there. Nice kill, but he dies. As well as Corsa gets a nice snipe there, as he's kind of holding pretty aggressive there. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised. It's going to give a little bit of an advantage to Just in Time, but just really odd play as Metaway actually comes back up on Quick Fix.
Quick Fix, that's actually kind of an interesting play considering they are basically even at this point. Even with Quick Fix, they would have been pretty similar at Uber lengths, and they could have parked the bars a little bit more, but it looks like they're trying to get a peek out, see if they can get an extra pick to put them a little bit of advantage to get out of this last point stranglehold that unfortunately is very hard to push out for when you're kind of stuck on the defense and continuing to lose players in even amounts as they just did. I gotta say that Mini did do quite a bit of work, even though it wasn't the level 3 shutdown we saw earlier, completely taking away the Uber, but it's kind of what you have to see sometimes. Minis are very effective on this point, and I gotta say the Uber that the KND did try with the Pyro going back there, also a really effective play, but unfortunately it just doesn't always work out when you do have even Ubers in that scenario.
And actually, the Quick Fix is looking like they want to get aggressive with it. They're kind of peeking into lobby area, but that cap time kind of pulled them back. But they now have a couple of frags in the favor. KND playing incredibly passive, holding on to this Uber charge outside of lobby, sticking it up. DK probably would want to push to river, probably go upper, or maybe they're just going to take over lobby, as it looks like that's what they're opting to do. Heavy in the lower basement area, trying to peek out, but he's going to actually run into Bobby, who gets traded, and Spyro goes down. Well, it's a nice snipe by Corsa here, so it looks like they're going to back up to this final point, holding onto that quick fix. Again, both medics just kind of in a game of chicken right now. Nobody's really popping, nobody's really doing anything, just kind of doing, actually, as I say, the KND is actually coming onto this final point.
Walking in right below the main area there.
Yeah, and here they go. Actually, Engineer actually onto Meadowy, who pops a quick fix, going to get taken out really quickly. Time 6 on the point, and not looking good for them. And I got to be questioning that quick fix call.
That quick fix call, exactly. They were basically evil in Uber as well as numbers at the point. I don't really know why Meadowy decided to go quick fix there, but I think it ultimately hurt them in the end, especially because they were aggressive and actually managed to retake lobby pretty easily, and they could have went forward had they had that Uber knowing the picks that they got.
Yeah, so here we go into the next round. KND took the first mid-fight, was able to run it through a good portion of the way. Now, looks like they're going to opt to go to opposite sides here. Is eXtv going actually all the way behind the enemy team. Demoman and Scout trying to get aggressive on the point. Aegis actually really nice bomb over the top, takedown Jarrett, so that's no Demoman here for the KND side. Actually, as a medic is going to get pushed out for KND. Just Bobby actually stuck in this corner here, as eXtv is actually underneath the point. I don't think anybody realizes. Jump onto Meadoway, tries to get one rocket, not able to find it. Good defense by Satan there, reflecting that. Only one alive. As everybody dies. Brandy with a nice kill onto just in time there. Times 2 on the point as they're getting ready to push in the last with this 100% Uber.
This is actually the same scenario that we saw last round, just pushing ahead, and except they're taking the advantage definitely in their favor this time. They're pushing forward, and they're into last with the Uber, taking down the sentry, no contest, and it just looks like cleaning up people on the point at the moment. DK completely in, surrounded by numbers, heals on the point, and they are good to go. That is 1-1 for both KND and DK now taking that final round there.
And I think that really shows you kind of the difference in DK, which I thought they would come out much more aggressive.
But aggression and dominance there on the mid-fight, that is such a big play on Gullywash, especially when you do get the picks to follow it up. And that is basically what decides the rounds a lot of times, especially in a division like Platinum, where every team is so aggressive and close on advantages as they are.
And here we go, KND, DK going again to the same side, but looks like last time KND won that battle, DK is going to win this time as they got 3 picks early on. Jarrett went down fairly early, as well as eXtv trying to jump over the top. They're going to get respawns in time, but...
they are not even playing this game. It looks like KND is actually already back to the lobby, going upstairs to maybe try to get a little bit contest on second if they do start getting that pressure on, but they are not taking any chances with losing numbers and the medic that they did last round.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta be, I don't know, it's a little bit of an interesting spot for KND, but it might work out for them. Times 2 onto the point here, as actually it looks like they're getting topped. Look at this demo man actually over the top.
Ooh.
On top of the demo, actually gets one fight, gets the second fight, and a drop out of Meadowy. Oh, and that's exactly what KND needed right here, is they're gonna retake this point and potentially push it all the way through, only 4 alive for DK.
And I think that was a really big mistake on DK there because KND was plugged back. It looks like Aegis got a pretty good early pressure, pushing them completely back in balcony so they couldn't contest the point. DK did get the point early on, and the Uber was too late to contest, but getting that drop was the playmaker there, and they lost everybody due to that play.
But somehow DK scrapped it together. I have no clue how they won that fight with the help of Zan actually putting them on the back. Did a decent amount of damage, as well as their soldier Aegis helped retake that. So somehow, despite Meadowy dropping there, DK able to hold on to his second point, and now they have their first time to push on this last point. That's not like a completely aggressive push. We got a stalemate in DK's favor, so it'll be interesting to see how they play this.
Justin actually a little bit without healing there. We are at even advantages again, so both have 50%. It looks like we're might see a little bit of a stalemate waiting for some plays to happen. I know this is a really big point for snipers peeking in. You have to definitely watch your river area and make sure that nothing gets in through their balcony, which it looks like Kresnik has covered. It's going to be kind of difficult from DK now, but seeing the aggression, it looks like they've just been getting the picks they need to when they're aggressive in a certain part of it. A lot of times it's just kind of their flank. And if we keep seeing that collapse, it's going to be very, very hard. Actually, Spy coming out right now, trying to go in just in time, not getting the stab, being called out very quickly. And again, we are stuck in this stalemate.
But hopefully DK will be doing something to get out of this, as just in time got his Uber just a little bit faster than Meadowy here, as they've got a little bit of back and forth, and he takes the soldier advantage. Inside his lobby are actually 3 players down here on the DK side. KND actually retaking the lobby and might want to take the fight to DK, who's holding it in this kind of upper area. Devilman Zan peeking around the corner, trying to do something, pushes away the sticky trap with the help of Satan. As it looks like, do they want to take the fight? They end up decide taking that fight, but I don't know. Here, finally, Meadowy goes down to 17 HP, does get the pop off, and Satan doing a good job of air blasting the back, now pushing him all the way back. Satan actually in a really good spot. Almost takes down Meadowy right there, but somehow able to stay alive. Only 4 alive for the DK side here, as a Spy behind enemy lines with the help of Jarrett. Takes down Carl and Josh there, as well as with Scissor. So only 3 alive, and KND's going to be able to retake this second point if they play it correctly.
And I gotta say, that was a fantastic Uber out of DK there, kind of pushing out of last. Again, a very hard scenario to get, and sorry, KND pushing out of last, a very hard scenario to get out of. I think where they got the Uber pop was perfect because they got those early on picks and they just dropped too much. The Uber was messy, they weren't really getting any targets, and Satan was completely shutting it down. So KND quickly...
Sorry, Just in Time was down to 15 HP there, almost died there. Just Zan, I'm sorry, that was Zan, yeah, peeking around the corner, sorry. So, but what are you seeing right now out of this holdout of KND? What do you think they're going to do next?
As for what they're going to do next, I mean, this is kind of the point right now where they're about even. I'm not sure if they're going to play on it. They know they have about 10% advantage. They could go right away, but they don't have all their numbers here and healed and ready to go. So, but we do see Scissor actually with the combo. It looks like we might see a push out of them here, but a little bit too late. Meadowy is just about to get Uber, and the Uber is popped into the... You're seeing an even trade kind of being air blasted away. Not much getting done.
Actually, Just in Time's got to be safe here as he got popped in down so low with the help of, that was Zan actually who ended up securing that kill. And Zan actually continues that kill streak, killing Ender, as well as Jerkin taken down by Josh the Engineer. And this is going to prompt DK to go through in the second point, as they're going to probably clean up numbers. And KND's got to be careful that they don't go all the way to last.
And I gotta say, that is absolutely not where you want to be right at the end of an Uber.
Hey, and he actually jumps as everybody's looking away and takes down Meadowy right there, so that's exactly what they needed to give them give KND a chance here to hold on to this final point.
Perfect, and you know what I gotta say about KND so far is I just don't think they're fast enough. They've been kind of slowly getting better and better at pushing right away, but unfortunately they're just not fast enough on their advantages. There's very, very small windows of time where they can really get in, and a lot of times they push in right away. After they get everyone healed up, or after, you know, they kind of lose their advantage or get even, it's not working out for them, and their positioning has not really been great moving into these quick last-minute pushes where they're not exactly organized and at their best ability.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're like just playing a little bit too cautious. Like, they're definitely a good team. They know how to play well, but I think sometimes they just get so caught up in themselves and like not wanting to make a mistake that they end up.
And I think they recognize.
Okay. Oh, actually, they take it down just in time. And that's probably going to be the push that DK's going to need. They're only 20% away, so they're probably going to wait for this Uber charge to come up before they push in, as Demento gets caught out, so he's not going to be able to get anything on the Meadowy. 89% here, as it looks like they're going to get ready to push up this riverside.
You gotta say what we've been seeing so far. I mean, you could basically say this is fundamentals of TF2, but it's just very, very close windows. You know, something happens, and then it's a cause and effect rally, and that's kind of what we keep seeing. It's just... either you go away and all of a sudden one thing goes wrong in the Uber and one team absolutely completely collapses from it, and that's kind of what we're seeing with KND.
So here we go, and actually Centrica doing a good job of keeping it alive, finally does get set. Good job also out of Satan holding that Uber in here, as if trades actually coming out in the favor of KND here, as actually Meadowy gets sniped by Corsa there. Really nice job. Only 3 alive for each team here, and who is it going to go out in the favor of? Nobody from DK is really in a position to go on to last. Actually, as I said that, 2 from Riverside. Zan gets 1 kill, but he's so low he's not going to be able to do it. He's going to peek onto this point.
He got the last sniper pick, and it just wasn't enough with any kind of cleaning up with the final rocket to get an already very weak Zan, who actually did quite a bit of work with the Carl back there on the end of the point. And I gotta say that is one of my favorite pushes to see on this point, where especially when the heavy or the pyro comes in the back, gets a lot of cleanup damage, and that's, you know, it really worked in DK's favor there, aside from getting those early picks, especially on the medic and some other combo picks, key combo pick.
You know, but that's got to be frustrating. You have full Uber advantage, you're pushing into the final point, and you're not able to win the game. I feel like every time that's happened to me, like happens to a team I'm on, I just get so frustrated. Because, like, you have the advantage, you have invulnerable people pushing in against, you know, it's like, you can't win that fight. And that just sucks, but here we go in, as DK is going to have another opportunity to push onto this final point, about even Ubers right now.
Speaking of the scenario you just talked about, I think it was a couple seasons ago where we saw a team, it might have even been DK in their first season, where it was just so many pushes onto last against a very dominant side for most of Gullywash, but they just could not do a last push. And sometimes it's the most important thing to do, especially when you have those key plays, you know, everyone wipes at mid or your medic dies at mid, and all of a sudden you're pushed back to last, and it's basically a free win if they can push it correctly. But you know, if you get really good at these last points, some teams just can't do it. So you really have to make sure you're well-rounded in all these parts of 5CP, not just mid-fights, not just last points.
Is Banny creating distraction on that last point underwater? Actually, KND has nobody watching water. Finally, Bobby Kresnik goes over to protect that site. Banny in a 1v1 against him. Looks like actually Kresnik is going to go down here, as Pyro actually coming in onto the point. That's Spyro, as Zan behind in water has 4 people on top of him. He's going to go down. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He's going to stay alive. How did he do that? As Aegis goes down, Medic trying to melee battle. Oh my god, wins it! And he gets the cap!
Awesome, Meadowy. That is absolutely amazing.
How did Zan survive that? There was 4 people on top of him.
He has got to be feeling great right now. I gotta admit, that is one of the things that just makes Highlander so worth it when silly things like that happen and work out in favor of your team.
What an absolute cluster of a fight, but going down in DK's favor here as they go up 2-1 in this first half. 11 minutes left on the clock here as we come into the next mid-fight. It looks like Aegis trying to come over the top as Medaway gets sniped early by Corsa here, and that's going to sign a good sign for KND here as they're getting all the frags right now.
Demento actually going early on Carl as well and cleaning up all the forces that were really trying to be aggressive as they have been on DK, just trying to take so much ground right early on at the mid-fight, and that's what we've been seeing the last couple rounds, but I think KND is starting to learn their lesson, and that was the first mid-fight where I really saw them kind of recognizing their advantage so quickly that they were moving across point before really the other team had a moment to react and kind of realize their surroundings. So that was perfect on KND, and it was almost kind of a change of situation considering that's what we've been seeing out of DK so far, and now we're seeing KND kind of step it up and take their advantage. Aegis trying to get a quick jump off of the battlements, trying to get that force on just in time, who actually didn't really take much damage at all, but that could have been a saving play if he hit those rockets and saved DK just a little bit of time, as KND now has 100% Uber against Medaway's 50 moving into last point, if they can regain the ground and get past, ready to push fast enough, which is something we haven't really seen out of them so far.
Yeah, KND has always been a little bit slow as they're finally getting aggressive on the server side, but 70% out of Medaway. Once this fight happens, actually, Medaway is going to be able to get an Uber charge in the middle of it if KND keeps waiting here. Still KND doing
just
absolutely
so
nothing.
Much waiting. 80% on Medaway now, they're just losing their advantages, and it looks like they're just spending so much time and they're taking so much damage early on that the Uber was actually forced. With Medaway having 90%, we've seen this before.
The demo line actually got disconnected there. Just in time got disconnected from the demo. Jarrett went down there as Just in Time was down to really low HP as Aegis actually tries to go behind, trying to find something. Banny helps claim some kills on the flank there, but Medaway now at 100%, and they're going to be able to push out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like their defense are unfortunate for KND. It looked like DK's defense wasn't even touched in that one. Uber completely plugged, just waited too long, took so much damage that they really just gave DK that full advantage there. They had everything to go into that, but now unfortunately they have a scout fully pushing into them, but not getting much.
Last point actually is being backcapped here. Is it going to go down? ×3 on the point, and Soldier and Scout were not cleared. And Engineer not able to protect that point. Actually, that was Aegis and Josh in the last point.
Wow.
That's got to hurt put some salt in that wound here as KND tied up 2-2.
I gotta say that was kind of a mistake considering they really didn't count how many people went down at last, and those that were still up, they just didn't really clear all the exits that they should have, and that was a mistake for DK, who seems like it had everything in their favor there.
Yeah, no, DK actually kind of getting pushed out. They finally get through this side. They're actually going to go 1v, or trying to take on this, contest them right out here, as KND trying to get out from their own choke finally are getting some frags. No, they are not. Zan cleaning it up with the help of Carl right there, as Just in Time's going to run away onto his second point. Actually, Zan jumping in over the top finally does take down Just in Time there. Some nice stickies out of him. Corsa is now trying to contest him, but he's going to back up to the lobby area, as actually Ender is 1v1 here. Zan really disconnected from the combo. That's okay, as Medaway's coming up at 100% here, as they'll be able to take the second point pretty easily. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in this first half.
This looks like Edney jumped in to get an early sniper pick. Unfortunately, did not get the pick that he was looking for. It looks like DK is again sitting with 100% Uber against Justin's 10. They're actually sitting at mid right now, not too comfortable to push into second point until their number's up. They actually probably don't even know what's in at this point, but they're kind of giving KND a free ticket to get set up to get at least contest second point, which they really weren't able to do if DK had gotten in right away and got control over that battlements area. Edney getting a quick jump, picking out Axio. He's going for a little aggressive picks, trying to get something out of the KND combo, who's kind of sitting over by the door, and we actually do see something that KND tried earlier. DK is actually now pushing into the lobby area and trying to get behind DK, taking the advantage.
Actually, look at KND. They're actually going onto the midpoint. They said, hey, you want to be in our lobby? That's great. We're going to go send everybody to the midpoint, as KND is completely backcapping them. And now Medaway's actually in a really awkward position here, as Banny's running onto the point here, trying to contest someone, as Soldier jumping in over the top. Aegis gets a nice kill onto Kresnik here, as course is being contested. Actually, now the medic's actually in a weird spot. Just in Time did go down from a nice snipe from Axiomatic, and KND is a little bit cheeky there, but definitely did not work in their favor, as they're only 3 alive.
Yeah, definitely, and I gotta say, although it worked out in DK's favor, it seems like just the last 2 minutes, they've been losing control of their surroundings. They've been having these pretty big advantages, and they've just been kind of pushing the whole team through one way, not really paying attention, not getting in fast enough. It seems like they're kind of slipping a little bit from the really dominant covered force that we saw earlier. But, I mean, it is still working out for them. KND is being punished for their mistakes, especially there with the back cap, although it worked. They kind of collapsed all there on the point. Now DK does have Uber still. But they do have to watch their flanks. It will eventually catch up to them if they keep getting wrapped around and back capped as they are.
So here you go, H&G getting in a nice spot on this final point, 100% ready to rock and roll here as they're looking to go into the shutter area. Spy is actually right behind! Oh no, actually the Uber does kind of like come off. I thought he was going to drop that metaway as they're pushing in onto this final point. Zan getting some nice damage. Aegis jumps over the top. Carl also helped clean up only 4 alive here for the defensive side. Just in time goes down as well here. It's just Bobby behind the point. Eddie tries to jump onto it, but not able to do enough damage here. And that's going to be 3 rounds here to DK. One more round sends us into half. 6 minutes and 20 seconds left in the clock here in this first half as we come into our 6th mid-fight.
6th mid-fight, and the mid-fights are always so fun and so quick, it seems, and it's always kind of a big toss-up of who's going to win, especially now that we've been seeing KND come back from their previous very, very passive approach. And it looks like they are actually getting up first on this mid-fight here. DK with a pretty aggressive hold over the choke area, not letting any in at all. And it looks like KND is not even really here. We kind of have people spread throughout the floor, but DK does get a very quick cap time, and actually are kind of collapsed onto the flank right now.
Oh, and their engineer kills the medic here right there. They actually got completely flanked, only Zan alive. And somehow, some way, KND is actually going to wipe DK on that mid-fight. And it looked actually that, I think it was the Demoman engineer and Spy and maybe one other class went drop down here. But look at this soldier above the medic. Nobody's spotted him yet. Look at this. He's looking for it. Tries Aegis, drops down, gets 1 rocket, gets a second. Oh, and the Uber does get forced off. So that at least is going to be good for Metaway, who was going to be at a huge Uber disadvantage. They're going to give up this 2nd point, but now they're going to have a chance to contest 2nd, actually, as they're actually all running into this upper area. Edney goes down here. And is KND going to be able to pull this down here? Is actually the medic is disconnected from the demo, finally reconnects here. Corsa goes down just in time, gets sniped from Axiomatic here. And is that going to open up the door? Actually did come down with that 2nd point here, but now they got to be careful not being back capped.
DK is not giving it up without a fight there once they got the advantage build on them by the quick soldier jump who got that early force out, bought some time for Medawi there. I mean, that's exactly what you need to see out of both teams there. It's going to be continued aggression. You just have to expect it. These are 2 top platinum teams. And from at this point in the game, like, it just seems like they're a little bit overwhelmed every single time it happens, and you really, really have to be careful when you're losing your medic on this map. Now it looks like we're going to be having quite a big advantage for Medawi at 80% now, and we're actually going to have to kind of wait and see if they act on it this time. They have been kind of the more aggressive force so far this map.
Yeah, Satan's actually way behind DK right now. He's actually in the upper area. Looking to actually get a play onto the medic here, maybe? Nope, so he gets caught up by the soldier 1v1 against them here. As Medawi actually has a nice Uber advantage, but KND doing a passive hold on the mid point, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to hold further back from the choke area, usually, especially with your medic. So if the other team pushes through, you're not going to be exposed. You can be able to get out easily here. As looks like DK is opting to just, like, play passive.
Opposite. Yeah, exactly. It looks like they're being a little bit more careful after the last couple of fights, actually, from KND have been just so dominant. And, like, we kind of go back to that mid-fight there, and that was actually a really weird showing. I'm not really sure. I kind of agree with chat there. I don't really know what happened just from kind of the spread of ground. You didn't really think KND was going to win, but, I mean, everything changes when it's a big mass of people and all happens within a matter of 10 seconds. So I think DK is kind of realizing this has caught them out a couple times at this point. It needs to be a little bit more careful, but unfortunately they're kind of putting themselves in a stalemate situation now when they could have probably went into mid, taken the ground pretty easily with KND holding back, and you know, it's just shown the aggressive force that they have been so far, and it would have probably worked, but, you know, now we're going to kind of see a poke the bus. We're going to look for a lot of picks here, usually on the flank, usually where they happen, but watch the pick classes here. Definitely watch snipers and spies, because that's where the plays are going to be happening in a stalemate.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, I think DK basically said they had the Uber advantage. They definitely could have pushed through here. Corsa takes down Spyro, as well as H&G goes down to a level 3 sentry gun. The Ender looks like he is up on that mid point here, as KND is starting to contest from this big door side. I think he's just trying to do... Yeah, they're trying to do something. I mean, it's on KND. They are currently down in the game. It is 3-2 in the favor of DK here. As a lot of contesting. Finally, Uber does get popped off onto KND. Actually, Zan gets dropped there. Was a little bit overexposed from Medic. Uber gets popped off into Banny here. A little bit better Uber as Banny's going to be chasing him down, but decides to back off there as a level 3 gun. Is definitely going to push him out. 2 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock here as Edney's back inside of the lobby here. And now DK is in a really bad spot. Medic's actually being able to get out in this upper area, eating some stickies here. Down so low. Oh, what a sticky!
Jared was not letting that happen.
Yeah, nice
and
job
I gotta say
by
that
him.
was perfectly done by KND there. A lot of times when you're in a stalemate situation and you have the other team holding so far forward, knowing that they have equal Ubers, and if they played a choke, it could have been like a pretty even pop, but pushing behind them was actually a really good play in that case. You cut them off from going out the door when none of them are up top. Unfortunately for MetaWii, when they kind of realized they didn't have the best Uber and they had the flank behind them in lobby, they weren't really getting out any traditional way. So we tried going up top, but unfortunately that's not exactly going to work when you have the other team pushing back into you, and they are not going to allow that to happen. So very good play on KND there. I think they got the picks, but mainly it was the positioning there that won them that fight, and that was, you know, kind of a mistake on DK. I don't think they were really expecting behind push, and that is kind of what happens a lot of times when you push through big door.
Now just in time, sitting at this 100%, they're ready to push, and looks like they're going to go through show. There's also level 3, remember, on this offensive side, as getting pushed back. Spy does sap the gun on the final point, heavy in the water area, as Scissors goes into secrets. Pyro goes down there, it's pretty early here, as a fight looking like it's pretty even, but definitely going in the favor of KD. Just a heavy and engineer behind the point. Edney came behind, took him down, Zan goes down as well, and this point's going to go out in the favor of KD. Really nice final push here, as the engineer was never able to really get his gun here. I liked it. He built it up. Ender built his level 3 gun on balcony as KND just a nice, clean, simple push onto that final point with Uber advantage.
Beautiful.
It's very
I gotta
pretty.
say right now, a lot of people had early predictions. A lot of people kind of know notoriously KND is not the best on this map, and DK is. So a lot of people, I think, would expect DK in the favor. But so far, I'm happy we're seeing a very, very close game.
Yeah, and so here we come into this mid fight again. It looks like actually KD is going through big door. Aegis comes in over the top, gets 2 nice rockets just in time. And that's going to be enough here as KD, look at all their health. They are so low as they're going to be opting to push out here. As the scout is trying to do something, actually Bobby as well, but nobody's going to be able to get anything on this MetaWay as he is down, or he's full health here, pushing on this second point. And 17 seconds left in the clock. They're actually running onto this final point. Are they going to be able to do it?
They are not going to let it go right now. It looks like Carl is going to be going in with his gloves.
They're going to get it. They're going to get it.
The spawn. Just enough time.
Oh! Right before the final whistle. 5 seconds on the clock. Etney had a chance, but the combination of the medic and what game sense right there to know that
like
you have to push.
Know, run with gloves until the very last second you really can there. That was kind of awesome on Carl there.
Favor of DK here, as looks like Zan's going to be taking his own choke here, as KD, I'm sorry, DK, they switched colors, they surprised me that way, as that's KD who's going to be taking their own choke here, as DK trying to push up onto that. They're actually going to try to contest the same side here. First frag coming out in the favor of KD, that's Aegis down here, and DK is just going to decide to back out here on the second. They are up by 1 round. I'm guessing they decided probably mumble ahead of time. They're like, hey, if we're not taking this fight right away, let's keep everybody alive. Nothing dumb here. As Spy in on second point, but he gets spotted out there pretty quickly, Dementa, that is.
And I gotta say, it's a very difficult point on that mid-fight, especially if you're that late as Zan was, kind of realizing he wasn't going to get into the mid-fight right away and going up the right side when the other team is there. It's going to be really, really hard. It's a very easily spammed out choke point as opposed to the elbow and the if you go left on the mid-fight usually. So it was kind of a wise decision for DK to back up and not really even try contesting that mid-fight, risking losing their players or losing their medic, which a lot of times KND, especially Etney, has just been so quick to act on any mistake of DK and try to get on MetaWii when he can. So now DK did back up early, and they are holding here on second point. We're kind of a stalemate situation, all up on either end, and we're going to see kind of some opposing pressure. It looks like the combo on DK is kind of switching around a little bit, seeing we can pressure from big door, meet the combo over there, as well as choke, but
yeah,
last minute Spy play.
As trying to do something, Demento again caught out here, but the action's on KD. Spy, or sorry, that's Scissors going to come in there as
the colors.
Aegis is going to die right there. Is yeah, sorry, what'd you see?
I was just saying the colors are getting all mixed up. It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, it is hard as they did switch teams here. As it looks like, again, KD trying to get some pressure here as nice snipe. Actually, Zan takes down Jarrett right there. Excuse me, as Scissor goes down behind enemy lines here. But again, DK, they're in no rush to push. They have nothing. There is no reason for them to push right now. They're at even Ubers right now. If they try to push out and fail, well, that's gonna be disaster for them here. As they are actually looking like they might want to do that. Benny actually running in onto this middle point, getting some cap time down as he actually helps take out Kresnik with the help of Josh, who is Benny's actually jumping behind the medic. He's on the medic right now, able to land one rocket. Actually gets the force out onto just in time, but a lot of frags did come out in the favor of KND here, as only a few alive who are just getting respawned. But this Uber is gonna be much better for DK, but they don't have the players to support it.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting a decision on DK there. They did get that early pick on both Scissor the Scout and Jarrett the Demo, which would have been pretty prime. Oh, actually, Uber is popped out right here.
Yeah, and it's going to be for DK, but again, they don't have anybody alive with them. The Heavy got dropped pretty early in that Uber trying to peek through that big door, and that aggressive push out of DK, I mean, I was just talking about it, you know, if you try to push out and you fail, that's going to give up that second point versus,
Absolutely.
I mean, they're holding on to this, but now Just in Time is going to have a nice Uber advantage, but KND has not shown themselves to be able to push off of such a close Uber advantage. It's only going to be about 20 to 30%. As Spy is actually onto his final point. Demento gets some time, gets caught out there, but that might be enough to just, you know, during this next push here, just get someone on that point right away.
This is kind of the opportunity there with about half cap time now. If KND to act on it soon enough, they could probably even get a pyro back there and just delay the point long enough to get that half a cap time that they need to cap the point, but it just doesn't really seem that KND is trying to risk such a play anymore. It really hasn't been working out for them. Going back to that play on second point there, yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see DK actually not go off of the scout and demo pick there, and unfortunately, although they got some prime picks on KND, they just didn't act on him soon enough, and it was kind of an awkward scenario when they were sitting back long enough that they lost two more players and were just kind of collapsed on by KND there. Again, kind of just a wavy performance that we've been seeing really back and forth from aggressive plays to kind of realizing that doesn't always work out for them and they should be more careful, which on this map, I mean, one play can absolutely be the game changer of the entire map, so I do think it was a wise decision overall to play a little bit more careful than we have been seeing them, but I don't know about that specific instance. I do think DK kind of sitting here last, now with equal advantage. I mean, it could work for him, but last is always a toss-up, and if the attacker plays it right, it's going to be very hard for them to keep this point.
And of course, is peeking through this main side, trying to find something, not able to connect with anything. Again, pressure on the KND side there, currently down around at his 4-3 in the favor of DK here as we are opening in the second half. As nice picks on the Bandit there.
Some flank picks there. That's not going to be good for DK holding this half here. We do have Corsa down for... They've only Corsa down for KND right now, so they might not be enough for them to peek, but it looks like they're trying to do a little bit more aggression, see if they can wrap in and pick somebody else out. All they really need is one prime pick to get into this last point here, but it looks like that's just not enough for them to push at the moment.
Yeah, I think KND, I mean, I think they're looking for that medic pick. I mean, when you are holding in this spot in KND's side, I mean, they have all the time in the world right now. There's no real reason
Especially
for them
against
to
a level 3.
Yeah, I mean, you can
just been having so much trouble against that.
Just wait for that medic pick. Try to do something fancy. Banny actually is way behind enemy lines right now. He's actually back by spawn there, but not close to anybody as Satan's trying to chase him down, as well as Scissors. Actually, wow, that is a lot of the enemy team. No, actually, they're all Mobby. That was just Kresnik and the sniper there here. As medic for KD, now holding outside the lobby. DK getting a little bit of pressure, but Demento is actually literally doing nothing as Benny does go down to Scissors right there. Demento's actually in this final point, and he's on Cloak and Area, and he actually just didn't move. I think he's giving intel, actually, as the medic gets forced here, or popped there.
Yeah, they actually got forced right outside of the lobby door back there. Unfortunate for them, they did have Banny on them.
Just in time went down! Just in time went down to H&G!
Exactly, and after the Uber ended, he went back into lobby and got stabbed really into no contest. And I think that was kind of a mistake on KND. It looks like they heard that call that Banny was out, and they decided to go all the way back, really be careful that they weren't going to lose their Uber pop there, but it did happen, and they got collapsed on. They didn't keep the picks up that they needed to, even with that Uber pop. They could have maybe taken the ground, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and actually Satan and Demento were on the final point there. They did not clear out water again, as Satan did actually kill Axiomatic, who was holding that upper area. But that's going to be good news for DK here, as they were able to retake on second point pretty easily after that play that they made. Really nice job there, and they're also going to have this Uber advantage, but again, they did not push off the Uber advantage in the same spot last time. I think it would make sense. I don't, you know, as much as I think parking the bus is not the wrong idea, I think, you know, it's 23 minutes left in the game. You're only up by 1 round. If you're up by 2 rounds, I think I could see it playing extremely safe. But at this point, you know, it's just, there's really no reason not to get aggressive. They are at 100%. It looks like they actually are going to go through this choke here. Uber does get popped off onto Banny, who's running it across the point as well with Zan. Only 3 of them in the middle right now. It's finally the Engineer and Soldier jumped over the top. KND completely giving up this point, as it's wise to do. Aegis jumping over the top. Actually, Jared went down there, so no Demo Man on the KND side. As they're actually, I'm sorry, Etney tried to counter jump onto Medawi, but not able to get many rockets in that situation. As Just in Time now seeing it's 100%, Jarrett is still down, so probably not going to see a push here too soon. H&G also behind enemy lines, looking to do something, but KND now, this is the time. They need to do a push, and they need to do it well.
And to be honest, even with their scout up, they probably could even go without Jarrett here. They probably have to act quickly, especially when they know DK is at first really holds so aggressively against the choke point before now, where they're kind of playing a little bit more careful. Actually, at level 2 on the point, and their combo holding closer to their choke. They're realizing that they're at a disadvantage, and Jarrett just got up and got picked again by the sentry gun. A late Uber again by KND, just dropping too many players when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, and this is going much in the favor of KND as they weren't able to take any ground there. As soon as Jarrett got dropped there, I don't think they realized how much damage that sentry gun was doing, or maybe got a little bit disconnected as Banny's coming through here on this big door side. Uber does get popped off here. As Zan actually went down to a nice snipe from Corsa, but Banny running all the way through onto just in time. Gets one
being caught out underneath.
Yeah, trying to get on land onto something, but not able to get anything. H&G actually right behind the medic. Nobody sees him right now. Is he going to be able to get the stab?
No, but he's caught out. Unfortunately, the life of a spy is where you miss many great stabs that could have happened, could have been. And I gotta say there for KND, that was kind of a mistake there. They should have pushed in right away, especially when DK didn't get anything done in that Uber except for a very late pick on Jarrett, and they did have 90% Uber after that push ended. They should have gone in right away, and that could have been a retake of a point a lot faster than we're seeing right now, although KND is currently capping mid, which is kind of back and forth in their favor. They could have done it a lot faster, and I didn't think they should have lost Jarrett even twice in a row there if they could have avoided it.
Now DK was holding pretty close to choke there at an Uber disadvantage, but here actually comes the Uber from KND. They are pushing aggressively. This is what they need to do as Demento's in on the medic trying to do something as he gets caught out right away, but the DK combos are able to get out to this upper area to a safe spot as Medawi sitting at 99%, able going to re-push us with this Uber as they're going to do that right away. Not even going to give a chance for this recontest as Just in Time goes down to a nice backstab by H&G, who also cleans up Kresnik as well as Spyro and Aegis come in for combined kills, and only 3 alive here for the KND side as DK is going to retake this midpoint. Medawi sitting at a nice percentage Uber advantage, and so many down here. The respawns are not up for 5 seconds, so that's going to be the back spawns as Edney tries to do something, not able to find anybody here. As a DK is now going to go on to his final point. A Demento on the medic. He's going to get caught out for his troubles. ×1 on the point. That's from the Pyro, who's so forward. Finally, DK coming to support, and this is going to be a point in the favor of DK. And now KND on doorstep's edge, or you know, on the final, whatever you want to call it, on the threshold to losing, as DK only need 1 round to take this game.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate scenario for KND there. We saw so much back and forth where it was one team have a very lopsided Uber advantage, and it just seemed like they didn't get it done. They didn't get on the medic, which has been a really big thing so far, and why we haven't seen this map go in one way's favor so far. It's just there hasn't been enough combo pressure, and unfortunately it's been back and forth until that last slip up there for KND where they finally lost enough players to let DK go forward. But even so, pushing into a scenario with KND did, popping for a sniper that probably should have been picked out considering how much room DK was giving them up on the balcony there. I think that was a mistake, and they popped early, didn't get anything done on the battlements, and again they kind of put themselves in a position where it's just so easy to be pushed on.
And here comes the Uber from DK onto the final point. Kresnik doing a good job in that water area with the help of the Download Man. Level 3 sentry gun finally does go down. H&D comes combined for Corsa as Medawi actually went down there to scissors there. Uber finally does come off in the favor of KND, and this is a defense in the favor of KND. Only lost 2 players in that entire defense, and now Zan is trying to get away out here alive. Axiomatic got killed there as Scissors coming in over the top with the help of Jarrett does take down Zan, and that's going to give just a tiny bit of an Uber advantage to KND. Not enough probably to push off of, but they might try to dry push it as Zan is still down here.
It's kind of interesting that we're seeing a lot of, I mean, ever since the Sentry change, we're seeing a lot of level 3 play, which unfortunately for a 5CP can definitely mean a very defensive. Oh, gotta say, that was a beautiful surf actually by Josh. I'm not sure if you saw that there. It was pretty fun, but yeah, a lot of level 3 play. I mean, in 5CP that can be very frustrating for the defensive team, or in this case, the attacking team. KND is not playing any chances, actually leaving a couple people on last, preventing all the wrapping that has been so prevalent in this game so far. For really both ends, just backcapping is something that you don't want to do when you're already at a disadvantage.
And Corsa and Jarrett actually go down there incredibly early. This Uber is just going to be on a scout and spy Demento, who's going to get caught out here as Soldier Edney is getting ready to jump off, but he actually just trying to get out through big door, and just a catastrophe of an Uber push. I mean, they had, so they
seemed
had
like
20%.
They were finally trying to be quick with it, but they just didn't have the players there that time, so I think, you know, you got to pick one. You can't really kind of have a half-assed attempt where you get one person in, where you know, you have a combo healed in, okay, we got to go on this Uber. You have to have people ready for the Uber no matter what, even if that takes a little bit of time.
And here we go, DK pushing on his final point, using that Uber advantage as best they can. Actually, only 4 players into this final point with the spy as well. The heavy goes down now. Medawi is just trying to dance around with Zan, pyroing on the final point, but no one's able to help. Only 2 alive for the DK side, but 4 alive for the, just Axiomatic, who is going to go down. And again, another failed push here from the DK side, as they just can't seem to find it
It's
as
just too much haste so far. It seems like we're seeing kind of really sloppy pushes, like we don't have much time, but in reality we have 17 minutes left on the map and they have all the time in the world. I think right now they're just kind of realizing all their mistakes from the first round, and DK continuously putting on that aggression. They know that that's what took advantage of KND so, for most of this map so far. Just really, really fast aggression, but it's not working out for them on last when KND is putting up such a solid turtle defense. With kind of the gun absorbing most of the health so far, and DK is being a little bit too hasty on those last pushes, while KND is being a little bit too hasty otherwise.
Yeah, Benny's actually behind enemy lines, was doing a back cap. Actually, on the medic with the help of Zan, just in time does go down, and as well as
so many players everywhere.
And that's only 2 alive here now for the KND side. They do get a couple respawns, as they're actually going to wisely back up onto this final point, as Medaway sitting at 43%, finally finds someone to heal here to keep building that up. And now we'll see if DK, as you said, they got too aggressive too quickly. They went in with enough people, but it just, I mean, they went in with like 4 people, but it wasn't enough to push on this final point. Medaway, huge advantage right now, as they just need to play this smart. They have only 1 round. They need to win this. Just got to take this final round here, as finally they are kind of chilling out here, 75% building this Uber.
Oh, and that's not going to be good for KND, who's actually on the quick fix now, only 35% Uber. That's not going to be much when TK, who has just been so quick in these pushes, is going to try going in with their aggressive right-away push. But I mean, this time with no real defense aside from level 2 sentry and a quick fix to stop them, it might actually go in their favor this time. It looks like KND is just not as confident in this last point with all the prime defenses that they've had in the past. So we'll see here. It looks like DK Uber is coming through the shutter.
And here they come in, actually comes in on Banny as well as with Zan, who comes through the shutter. Quick fix actually did get up in time, and that's keeping some people alive here. Actually, Scissors gets up alive. I cannot believe they actually got that quick fix up in time, as Medaway caught out here with Zan, as they're just trapped in the corner. Actually, Aegis tries to get onto the point. Medaway now coming down to the point as well with the help of Banny. How are they still alive this far into the fight? Banny and Zan. Zan finally does go down with the help of the afterburn. Only 4 alive, but look at how low everybody is. Down, I think a combined health. Now it's just Axiomatic who does go down, and that was basically a wipe here, as Demento's going to capture this next point here, at least put some time on it. Might finally cap it. This Pyro's coming out here to contest, but again, DK struggling, and I cannot believe.
Teleporter there for DK. That's not going to be actually pretty detrimental for KND's push. They had all the advantage in the world to go out quickly, but unfortunately they didn't know about the teleporter and the spawning combo that's already there for DK.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, this is looking for good for DK to be able to at least contest this second point, as KND's struggling to even get out the lobby.
I mean, at this point into the map, when you have all the DK up and you're slowly trying to get onto the second point, it's kind of a worry. You have big door completely open. The sniper finally goes down, which is a pretty big stopping point for KND, but it's like you got to get that cap time really quick when you commit that many people forward, and DK has just been so rappy so far. It's really hard to keep track of them when there's such an aggressive scramble, and all of a sudden you have, you know, 9 people in your face and you don't really know where everyone's going. And that's kind of the mess of Highlander sometimes, that you have to be careful about getting that point quickly.
And I don't think anybody sees Banny right here. He's actually onto the middle. I'm sorry, that's Just in Time who goes down. That's actually a drop. Just in Time just dropped it.
Oh no. 70% Uber with Medaway. That is not going to be good for KND, who finally got up on their feet and got that midpoint again.
Wow.
Looks like they're actually not going to play any chances with this either. Already holding back at their choke, kind of wondering what they have to do at this point onward.
I mean, I probably would wait to push, not off of heal advantage, but push off this Uber, wait for that Uber to get up here, as they do finally get it up. But also, you know, you kind of want to wait for the medic to get alive, just in time to get to the front line, so that you at least can, like, do something with Uber, as Demento does get a nice kill there onto Spyro here. As looks like DK is getting ready to push this choke. I mean, they really want to. You can see them all getting up for it. They're checking drop down. Uber does finally come out, and DK. Bandage is trying to cross the point as level 1 Sentry Gun in the big door from the KND side. Aegis jumps in as over the top as well, as KND just completely giving up this point. They're not even going to try to contest this, and that Uber probably didn't even need to get popped there, as literally no one was in mid.
Testing them in choke or pushing them out. I mean, sometimes you just have to go off of the sniper alone when you're playing against such good snipers like Corsa is on KND. But I mean, again, KND not taking any chances now, but now at 80% Uber, what they really have to be careful now is what they've been just their weak point their entire match. They've just dropping too many people before an Uber, or being too hurt before an Uber, that they're just not ready to go in, and that's kind of why we've been seeing a lot of unsuccessful Ubers on the half of KND, but now 100% they are going in.
And here they come in. KND does pop off the Uber onto Scissors, who's the furthest forward, but he gets distracted with some people who are holding underneath. Now it's just the Demo Man who's the furthest one forward, and that's going to push out DK here, but they stayed alive. Basically, everybody stayed alive, and that's exactly what DK wanted. The same thing that KND just did to them. They popped the Uber. Now Medaway's going to have a nice Uber advantage here, as Corsa gets a nice snipe onto Banny here. So actually some low numbers here for the DK side, though they do have that Uber advantage, and looks like they're going to opt to have an upper hold here on this second point.
Funny enough, this is something we saw about 5 minutes ago where it was just really back and forth, you know, a major advantage over one another, and it was just either team playing it very carefully and not losing all the players that they need to, and especially keeping your medic alive. I know it's like that takes that one medic pick to really get offset, and when you don't get anything done with your Uber, when you don't get on the opposing combo, no matter how safe they're playing, it's just going to be back and forth like this. But I mean, all of a sudden we're going to see one slip up, and this might all change.
I mean, it's really just, again, kind of that game of chicken. Actually, just in time holding incredibly forward. I don't know if, like, someone saw, you know, maybe a soldier bombed into the combo right here.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting enough, they actually did let them get 100% Uber. I'm kind of surprised that DK is holding so passively when they did have quite a big advantage there despite being down a couple numbers. It looks like they're going to be ready to contest second point, but it's going to be difficult for KND to get in right now when everyone's holding upper. And it looks like they just want to get that high ground advantage if they do try to push and cap second point. But KND is not taking that chance right now. They'd rather go back safe, and I think DK is actually going to take this upper hold again with their flank starting to get down in big door.
And that was partially that DK not popping Uber, I think was partially because Scissors was behind almost the entire time, just kind of being a thorn in DK's side here, as H&D does take down course, so that's no sniper for the KND side here. And that's going to be a little bit scary now, as Axioma's going to have free range here on this big door side, as he has a great angle, and look at that, KND almost instantly starts backing up, or at least the Devilman, that is, as Metawi, again, both medics say it's 100% Uber. KND, again, time on the clock, 11 minutes. They're down a round right now, and they need to do something. They've been liking this push through big door. What KND's been doing is pushing from big door, going through lobby, and trying to contest like that. It's not really
just kind of what you have to do when they're holding upper, because otherwise you're going to be pushing into an obvious high disadvantage. You're going to be popped early on, basically not being able to do anything but spam some stickies over the wall and maybe hope for a pick, and it's just an easy DK push back onto them otherwise. And I think they realize, I mean, the last time we saw this happen, it was absolutely crippling for KND. They popped early at the door because of a sniper, and then just got wiped up afterwards by DK, who took pretty good ground. But I mean, they realize that can't happen again. I think they need to go back to their first round strategy of wrapping around them, but
yeah, actually, Scissor and Satan actually went behind enemy lines as Kresnik goes down as well. So that's actually 3 picks in the favor of DK. But are they going to do something off of that? I mean, that is
looks like they are
down. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get aggressive, but they just found out that there's a level 3 gun on that midpoint, though it did get picked up. Uber does get popped off onto DK just in time. Pops his Uber as well. They were actually incredibly close to each other. Looks like KND's going to back up here. As Banny is going to get caught out, maybe going to barely stay alive here, as basically just kind of get a reset here. Which actually might be, I think it's in the favor of KND if they push well as Etney goes down to a nice backstep by H&G.
Kind of a good place on KND so far. They're really being careful with their defense here. They were practically non-existent on the point when DK again popped in with Uber way too early on to really no threat besides level 3 sentry, which got moved pretty early on. I think it could have caught him out if they were a little bit more cocky and got into the point there, but KND again just playing it very safe. They can't afford it with only, what is it, 9:30 left on the map. They really don't have too much time to get 2 points in order to win right now, and they are definitely playing that defense carefully, because DK, the way that they have been playing, it could very quickly turn into a 1-minute cap from the position they're at now if anything goes wrong in the KND defense. So definitely props to how they've been playing now. But now we're kind of seeing the same situation again. It just doesn't seem like they really know what to do from here, and we're just wasting a lot of time sitting in big door, rotating back to choke, and really, I mean, they're looking for a pick that isn't there, and DK is not playing any chances as well. But actually, DK combo coming down to contest him right now. Looks like they're kind of getting a little bit bored of this stalemate, trying to go for a pick themselves. Reminder that they are both at 100% Uber now. We might see a trade sometime soon, but I mean, we could have said that for the last 3 minutes as well. We are kind of just sitting here at the moment.
And that level 3 gun does take down Banny. It's actually pretty aggressively forward. It just in time goes down. That is a drop, ladies and gentlemen,
and there
from
we go.
H&G. And this is going to prompt DK to go through, or at least you got to believe it has to.
The longer you wait in a stalemate, something bad is just going to happen. And I mean, that's what we are waiting for at this point. You're just kind of relying on their flank classes. And I think that's what H&G and DK were doing. They were really not playing any chances, pretty confident that their pick classes were going to get the picks they need. And again, a snipe on Jarrett, that's going to be pretty decisive, I think, for DK going in here.
And finally, DK, it looks like they're going to go through his choke side. Satan holding really close on KND's red side here. As they're holding at the choke, he's going to look to stuff this Uber as soon as it comes through, as well as Kresnik's holding really aggressively. Just in time, finally does start killing someone. Uber does come out from this choke hand side. Kresnik's actually under the middle point as the level 3 sentry gun is going to get taken down as it just was started to rebuild. Actually, is it going to be taken down? No, it's somehow still alive. Nobody focused enough. Finally does. But a lot of the frags coming out in the favor as Metaway goes down to a nice snipe from Corsa and only 3 alive for DK. And how did KND do this?
I have no idea what just happened.
And Scissors actually already running on to his final point. Only the soldier is able to do this 1v1. And Scissors takes that, and he's going to run onto the point. He's got it.
see, I told you, just as I said, I mean, that could just be one move, and all of a sudden, you know, that stalemate that we've been watching for the last 5 minutes turns into a really, really quick cap just by, like, a simple mistake. I mean, that push seemed pretty in favor of DK there, and it was just, you know, that Turtle Sentry Gun picking up players one by one, mostly on the flank away from the combo, and it was really easy after that for them to collapse on him and win the round. Pretty quick thinking on the flank to actually get ahead there, though.
Yeah, I mean, that gun should have been down. It was down to about 10 HP, but nobody was able to give the final blow to it here as we have Aegis jumping over the top, but that's Zan, Aegis, Banny, Carl, Spyro, H&G, and Josh down.
Everyone down for DK right now. Actually, only Medawee and Axia going back, who is actually healing Axia right now, so it looks like he is alone going back to last but being chased, and he's desperate to keep this advantage because he knows right now this is the favorite KND, that if they keep the steamroll going, actually now the combo at the spawn, this might exactly be what we're seeing, but DK fast and furious, they're keeping them out from that spawn camp that could have been. That would have been absolutely horrible.
Oh, actually, Runaway goes down, throw a huge backstep. Uber comes out from KND. This is for the win.
Wow.
Forest Scouts trying to get onto the point. Aegis gets a nice stab. Actually, H&G right onto the medic for the KND side. Scout goes down. That's Scissors as Zan versus Demoman and Soldier Eddie coming in behind. And Zan goes down. And this is going to go in the favor of KND. And they are going to take this game and go into the grand finals. What a way to finish off.
What a last 2 rounds. Didn't I just meant tap in like 2 minutes ago and I was like, you know, stalemate situation, and all of a sudden, there we go, 2 rounds in favor of KND, who's actually been kind of weak on this map so far compared to the really aggressive advantage of DK. It seems like we've been seeing KND more on last than DK, but there it was. It's just like a second play, and I don't know how my eyes even registered all that was just happening there at the end, because that happened so quick. What just happened?
And that was the first time we saw
that was incredible. That is Gullywash right there.
Yeah, I mean, that is what I love about 5CP, is that ability. I mean, when teams, you know, that stalemating stuff happens, and I think KND could have played a little bit better. I think they got incredibly lucky, honestly, that they pulled that off. Obviously, they, you know, I'd say incredibly lucky, but it's skill too, obviously. They did turn around that fight that seemed impossible to do, and then to retake that point. But then this final round, like, I mean, that's exactly what we kind of been saying KND's been missing this entire game, is that hyper aggression. And finally they do it. That's why we've been seeing
such careful plays, because I mean, this map is so quick in the end. It could either be a mid fight that means the difference of a round, or it can be a single play like that. Like 5CP is so detrimental, especially Gullywash, when it's just so easy to get in very quickly and get ahead especially with Big Door there, getting that second point upper hold there. I mean, that's exactly what we've been kind of talking about this entire map. It's just a very quick display of aggression, and I think, you know, both teams recognize that they've both been playing a very long time, and they realize that they had to do it, but they have to be really careful, and I'm amazed to see them hold on despite all of the just big plays and wipes and everything that we've seen so far this match, because that was really back and forth, and it was just some incredible plays, and they managed to hold on so many times. So props to both teams. I mean, that is basically what Gullywash is. It could be, you know, can go anywhere from a roll to a really stalemate situation, you know, where round ends at 3-1 or whatever the match might be. But that is exactly what Highlander is about right there.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that went from like kind of a little bit slow pace, and then it just suddenly on the accelerator here. I'm looking at the stats right now. I mean, the stats are going to be a little bit dubious just because of how long that first round went down and how stale-matey it was here. But Course the top fragging with the help of Banny as well as Banny, both at 19 frags. Actually, I'm sorry, that's Scissor. Hold on, I got my stats wrong. Scissor's top fragging with 26 frags, and Banny right below him at 19.
I gotta say, kind of amazing for Scissor. 26 and 10, only 10 deaths, which is kind of amazing as a flank class on this map. Where it is, I mean, you're constantly under pressure, and a lot of times those are the picks that go the most. But again, I mean, the scouts have been getting a lot of Ubers on this map, and it is kind of a place to shine. And I would also go to a big shout out for the pick classes as well, as although we kind of saw lower sniper stats this round, they are such a big playmaker on this end. It's kind of why we saw, you know, stalemates happen, and all of a sudden these great plays break them. And again, the scout, the sniper, and the soldier are just such big playmakers on this map. And that's exactly what we saw, especially out of Scissor and Banny on this last round here.
Yeah, and I think this kind of comes back again. I mean, a lot of, you know, I think a lot of people say it, or maybe they don't, but I've heard it before, which is like, you don't park the bus early. And I think that's exactly what DK came out here and they did. And I think, like, it's not even that they did anything necessarily wrong, but it changes your mentality as a game player. Instead of like going like, okay, well we see an opportunity, let's seize it and close the game. It's kind of like, well, let's make sure we're playing a little bit safe, and that's actually kind of what hindered KND in that first half. Is that the times when they just played it a little bit too safe is when it went against them, versus when KND played it aggressively, it went in their favor. And that's Highlander in a nutshell. Like the more aggressive team almost always wins. And I don't know,
on the same end, we also saw a lot of aggression out of DK, but a lot of times they were too hasty on a lot of their plays. Like they went on a push too quickly when their flank was weak, or they were losing too many people elsewhere, and they just didn't get enough done because they didn't really think through the situation that they're running into, despite, we have a pick list go in. And sometimes, that's a great play if you can do it correctly, but, it's hard when you have 9 players to really get in that same mentality of who we're going after. And I think there was a lot of focus kind of lost in a lot of those really quick plays that people, that's how DK plays. They play very aggressively, and a lot of times they do it very, very well, and we saw a lot of that this match. Like, they're such a great team, and in terms of aggression especially. But especially in those last 2 rounds, it was kind of hard to watch at times when they were just a little bit too quick, and they just didn't get their heads around the situation that they were in. And KND, again, they were playing it safe, but they weren't playing it as, kind of recklessly safe as they were in the first round. And those last holes are really what saved them. And it was kind of an anchor. Like, there was so many times where DK had like an amazing Uber pop into a point, and KND just kind of chilled around. They were really far back, and DK didn't really get anything done, and they weren't ready for a repush. And I think a lot of that kind of has to go with that very fast thinking mentality. They're in, they're ready, and they were getting so much done earlier in the match. And I think KND just kind of caught up to that after a while.
I'm still like I'm kind of taking it all in.
Yeah, what just happened again?
Yeah, I mean, just how quickly everything just kind of happened at the end there, those final pushes. One thing I do want to, I'm just kind of looking at the stats. I'm just trying to find some interesting stat lines here. I want to point out H&G with 4 medic picks in that second half there. So he definitely stepped up to the plate, especially on this map, which can be so hard to get anything done. One interesting stat also is that Just in Time had 16 assists, whereas Medaway only had 7. So definitely, again, I think like that, a little bit of that cautious play, you get assists by healing the person who's most forward, who's doing out that damage, getting that, securing those kills. And, sometimes that just can be an anomaly, but I mean, again, it kind of fits the storyline that maybe DK, just wasn't kind of playing just a little bit off their mentality. Again, as you said, sometimes too aggressive, but a lot of times just too passive, just trying to play it too safe and sometimes, but, maybe I'd be saying this different thing if they, I don't know, like, I really struggle with this game.
When the outcome is one way, and you can say a lot of things about either teams. I think they both had their big fallouts in this match, and they also had a lot of things that they did well, but it seemed like it was pretty back and forth. There was no dominant thing that kept happening for either team. And so, I mean, I think if DK won, we probably could have been saying something completely differently, but as long as you recognize that they were, like, what they did do and what KND did do, I think it really could have gone either way at the end, but it was just, whoever slipped up first. And I think that's kind of goes for a lot of maps in Highlander, of just how quickly, stalemate can go into some absolute devastation in one team's favor. And KND actually being down a point at the half and having to get 2 points within, I think there we were at 7 minutes for them to get 2 points, and all of a sudden that just kind of all fell out. And it's hard to keep that mentality. We talked about mumble mentalities a little bit earlier, and how all of a sudden you can have a lot of momentum and one thing could happen and that could absolutely change. And if your mumble environment doesn't really handle it well, or you guys don't really get back up on your feet, which a lot of teams struggle with, it's going to be hard. Yeah. And I think, maybe that's what we even saw with DK in that last round there. And that's what we saw with KND at the last round of the first half. It's, you go in thinking one thing and all of a sudden everything goes wrong. And it's really, really hard to catch up from that.
Absolutely.
So much to say.
So much.
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Well, I think we've
been saying a lot.
I think we've kind of said close to it all, or at least there's actually still a lot more to say, but we won't hold on to you guys, forever here. So I think we'll kind of wrap it up here. Congratulations to KND. They're going to go into the grand finals again, potentially doing a three-peat here, as they will be playing in the upper bracket grand finals. This was technically the upper bracket grand finals. It's going to be the grand finals, whatever you want to call it. Monday next week, best of 3. And then the next game will be this Thursday. It'll be the winner. So it'll be DK versus whoever won versus MTS.
I believe.
And so whoever wins that game will then go to the best of 3 this Monday. So DK is not technically out of it. They still have one more game to play, and they potentially still can get into the grand finals. With that, I just want to again plug the Battle Royale, you guys. Before we, when we end off here, there will be a nice promo for it. The Battle Royale, the signups are open right now. The prize pool is 250 keys for the Pro League. There's 2 different leagues.
It's pretty insane. Like, it's probably more money we've seen in a while in a Highlander tournament, so definitely check it out, the page, if you have any interest in winning prizes.
Yeah, definitely very excited for that. Thanks to Marketplace.tf for them for helping out getting some of those keys. If you guys want to sign up, go to EVLBR.com to go get that done. Again, t-shirts also available. You can purchase
They're pretty
those links.
sweet.
The links are in chat. And I think that is going to wrap it up here. So, the Melon Lord, is there any shouts you want to do here before we close it out?
I would say, I have so many people that I probably could shout out right now, but I don't want to bore you guys on a long list. I'm just going to say you guys know who you are, so shout outs. And also, big shout out to KND and DK. I love both of those teams, and I love all the people on them. So, you guys played a great match today, and congrats to both of you, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably one of the best games I've seen all season here, guys. Thank you guys, everybody, so much for coming out here. Guys, toss out some hearts in chat. Thank you to Dashner, who is doing an awesome job on camera, as always. I don't have anything else. Thank you guys all for coming out here, and have a great night.